Thank you. Philip Lambert.
Mr. President, up until the global financial crisis and in the quarter century leading there, we had mostly a debt-fueled growth model. And I would say that the quantitative easing policies followed first by the Fed and then by the ECB have just helped with that debt addiction. And I'm not so much concerned about public debt as I am with private debt, corporate debt, household debt, pockets like, well, in some areas, real estate, you've mentioned that, but also student debt and stuff like that. And so isn't something wrong with having a model that relies so much on debt and basically on a certain flavor of money creation that is primarily the realm of private players? In other terms, money creation, and of course you've helped there, but money creation is still very much a prerogative of private financial institutions. And well, should I just not be concerned and rest on my, well, sleep well? So do I see risks that you don't? Well, you're better placed to me to enlighten me, but frankly speaking, I do not feel easy looking at the pile of debt that I'm seeing.
Thank you. First of all, was the expansionary monetary, let's go back a moment to before the financial crisis. Was the financial crisis created by expansionary monetary policy pursued in the years before? Or was it rather the outcome of a systematic destruction of the existing regulation starting with the mid-90s onward? There are different views. I tend to believe it's the second more than the first. And so now we are in a situation where expansionary monetary policy was necessary to restore the recovery in the US, here in Japan, and elsewhere. And from this viewpoint, the fact that interest rates have been low for a long time actually produced more financial stability than if we had massive failures and a continuation of unemployment and possibly a recession and deflation. So I think that's the answer. But having said that, if we move specifically to whether private debt has gone up in the Eurozone, well, the answer is not so much. While it's gone up significantly in emerging markets and in China, and to some extent in the US, in the EU, not so much. As a matter of fact, at least until now, the low interest rates have been used to rather refinance the existing debt. At the same time, growth was continuing. So the debt to growth has gone down to some extent, while the public debt has not gone down. It's by and large the same as it was in the aggregate, although when you consider all countries combined, the stock of debt in euro area is going down since 2016, if I'm not mistaken. Private debt has been going moderately down. Now, I'm not sure this will continue, but if you look at this from the viewpoint of the ECB, clearly the low interest rates are necessary to comply with our mandate. So if there are financial stability risks that stem from the incentive that private parties have to go into greater debt, this should be coped with the macroprudential tools. Thank you.
Follow-up, if I may. Are you not concerned of exposure by European players to unsustainable debt outside of Europe? You mentioned China, possibly the United States, because remember what happened in 2007, huh?
Yes, indeed. We see things like there are certain segments of the lending, the leveraged lending, or the high-yield corporate debt. And these problems are not here, really, are mostly in US, and we have non-banking mostly, and that's why it's so difficult, non-banking sector being increasingly exposed to, again, these same products, CLOs. The CLOs had disappeared, now they're way back.